there, this is Miss O and welcome once again to my class where learning English is easy peasy. Do you find yourself struggling when it comes to spelling some English words? Don't worry, today we're going to talk about the different spelling rules, but before we begin, please don't forget to click the like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be notified of my lessons. Because English has absorbed so many words from different languages and some word pronunciations have changed over the years, we find spelling English words not only difficult but also downright frustrating. However, we should know that English spelling does have patterns that can be learned and tools to help us. Some words just have to be memorized too. We also have to remember that when a suffix is added to the word being spelled, there are also certain rules to follow. Take note that a suffix is a letter or group of letters added at the end of a word to make a new word. For example, the suffix "ness" when added to the end of the word sweet forms the word sweetness, changing an adjective into a noun. The suffixes that you will see here are all set in italics for you to easily spot them every time I flash words. Okay, so let's get started with the first rule. Now let's think of a one-syllable word, which is gum. Now, check this word and I want you to look at the single vowel that comes before the final single consonant. What letter is it? Very good, it's the letter U. How about the final consonant? Well done, it's the letter M. Now let's try to add a suffix to form an adjective out of this word. Okay, just give it a try. Okay, so my to make it gummy. So from gum, which is a noun, you add my to make it an adjective. So what have you noticed with the spelling? Well done. We double the final single consonant, so it becomes what? It becomes G-U-M-M, and then we add letter Y. So that becomes gummy. Very good. Again, the first rule states that if you have a one-syllable word, you just have to double the final consonant and then add a what? Add another letter or group of letters to form a new word. Let's read the following one-syllable words with a single vowel before the final single consonant here. Observe how they are spelled when a suffix is added to each of them. The red letters are the vowels, the highlighted letters in yellow are the final consonants, and those in blue are the doubled consonants when a suffix is added to these words. Fat, fatty, shop, shopper, rot, rotten, sit, sitting. However, if the word ends in two consonants or if two vowels come before the final consonants, we do not apply this rule. For example, push, pushed, light, lighten, sharp, sharper, meet, meeting, read, reading. Notice that the first three words end in two consonants that are highlighted in yellow, and the last three words have two vowels before the final consonant. Remember that we do not double the final consonant if the word ends in two consonants or if two vowels come before the final consonant. For the second rule, how do we spell the words when adding suffixes if a word has two or more syllables? It depends, of course. Like, for example, if the word is accented or stressed on the last syllable, like prefer, then we can treat it as a one-syllable word. So we just have to double the final consonant. For example, commit, committal, regret, regretted, transmit, transmitted, prefer, preferred. The highlighted syllables in yellow are the accented or stressed ones, and those in blue show what happens to the final consonants when a suffix is added. Take note that we do not double the consonant in targeted and benefited since the accent or stress is not on the last syllable in target and benefit. Also, since the accent is on the last syllable in the verb prefer, the R is doubled in preferred. But the case is different with the noun preference because the accent or stress shifts to the first syllable. Another point to consider in this rule is that if a word of two or more syllables ends in two consonants, or if two vowels come before the consonant, we do not double the final consonant of the last syllable. For example, alarm, alarmed, reflect, reflection, adopt, adopted, balloon, ballooning, attain, attained. The first three words end with two consonants and the last two words have two vowels before the final consonants. These consonants and vowels are highlighted in yellow. Also, if the last syllable is not accented or unstressed, we simply add the suffix. For example, profit, profitable, conquer, conqueror, pamper, pampering. When the last syllable does not have the end accent or final stress, it is preferred and in some cases required that you do not double the final consonant. So if you happen to see words like focus spelled as F-O-C-U-S-S-E-D, that is with a double S, instead of F-O-C-U-S-E-D with a single S, and worshipped with a single P instead of worshipped with a double P, they are accepted. Now let's talk about the third rule. A silent E is usually dropped from a word to add a suffix if the suffix begins with a vowel. For example, state, stating, believe, believable, expense, expensive, fine, finest, glide, gliding. Notice again that those in yellow are the silent E's of the listed words and they are dropped when added with a suffix that begins with a vowel. These suffixes are highlighted in blue. But hey, there are some exceptions to this rule. These exceptions are the following. Letter A. If the suffix able or -use is added to a word with a soft G or C sound, keep the E. For example, courage, courageous. Letter B. Keep the E if the new word could be misunderstood or mistaken for another. For example, dying signifies die, D-Y-E, not die, D-I-E. Letter C. If the word ends in IE, drop the E and change the I to Y before adding the suffix. For example, die, D-I-E, change IE to Y and add the suffix. That becomes dying, D-Y-I-N-G. The fourth rule says that we have to keep the silent E at the end of a word where the suffix begins with a consonant. For example, state, statement, extreme, extremely, fate, fateful, shame, shameful, brave, bravery. The suffix of statement begins with the consonant M, that's why we keep the silent E. The rest of the words whose suffixes begin with the consonant follow this rule. Oops, there are also exceptions here. We have argue, argument, judge, judgment, true, truly. For the fifth rule, we follow the well-known saying I before E except after C, or when it says A as in neighbor. Again, I before E except after C, or when it says A as in neighbor. This helps us not to get confused when there is an I and an E in a word being spelled. With the said rule, let me show you some words that follow the rule I before E. We have achieve, believe, relieve, relief, chief, peace, and fierce. In cases where there is a C along with I and E, we write C first, followed by E, and then I. For example, receive, receipt, conceive, ceiling, and conceited. We also do the same when it says A as in neighbor, sleigh, AT, and rain. Just like the previous rules, there are also exceptions here. Let's check these words. Ancient, either or either, foreign, forfeit, height, leisure, neither or neither, seize, sovereign, weird. Now, there are 2 points to consider in the sixth rule. Let's talk about the first point. If a vowel comes before a Y, leave it alone and add the suffix. For example, boy, boyish, display, displaying, honey, honeys, play, playful, pray, praise, sway, swayed. The second point of this rule tells us that if the Y follows a consonant, change it to I and add the suffix. For example, funny, funniest, happy, happily, penny, penniless, pity, pitiful, try, tried. There are also exceptions in this rule. We use certain suffixes such as ing and keep the Y. For example, deny, denying, fly, flying, party, partying, worry, worrying. We also follow the same rule when using certain suffixes. We have baby, babyhood, lady, ladylike. Last but not the least, let's now talk about the seventh rule with 7 points to consider in forming the plurals of singular words. The first point says that we add an s to most words. For example, table becomes tables, phone becomes phones, laptop becomes laptops. Second, if a word ends in s, ss, sh, ch, or x, always add es. For example, gas, gases, business, businesses, dish, dishes, watch, watches, tax, taxes. Third, if a word ends in y and there is a consonant before it, change y to ies. For example, armies, ladies, libraries, parties. The word army has a consonant M before the final Y. Therefore, Y is changed to IES to form its plural form, and so with lady, that becomes ladies, library becomes libraries, and party becomes parties. Fourth, if a vowel comes before the final Y, just add S to form its plural form. For example, day, days, joy, joys, say, says. Fifth, there are also some words that can be used as plurals without any changes. For example, antelope, deer, fish. Sixth, other words change their spelling to form plurals. For example, goose, geese, leaf, leaves, tooth, teeth, wife, wives. Lastly, to indicate the plural form, some word endings are changed. For example, cactus, cacti, octopus, octopi, synopsis, synopses. That's all from Miss L's English class today. If you liked this video, please click like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell button to get notified for the next video.